Gemini. Thanks for dropping in with me. I'm here to just tap into your collective energy and see what the memo of the moment is for you. I wanted to do this little drop in for all the signs, a little shorter read. Some of them have been going a little bit longer than planned, but it's always like that. I can't block the messages when they come through. Maybe something is going on a little bit longer than planned in some of your connections. You thought time would already be up on them, but there might be sort of like a continuation point that takes you by surprise. Okay. And it's interesting because before I dropped in with you, the sky was all overcast, but then there was like this little bright spot that came through. And then I immediately heard, yeah, but it's probably just a sucker hole. So there might be a little bit of you that's kind of cynical at this time. I don't think that you're sort of like putting all your eggs in one basket at this point. You're just paying attention to how things are rolling out. You're taking an optimistic view, but you're not going to just totally throw caution to the wind either. I got that. Okay. I think you've been through a lot. You know that things can be quite changeable. And just as I say that, I mean, that bright spot is gone. There's still patches of blue out there, but there are some clouds on the move. And with that, I'm seeing an airplane that just took off. So you might be preparing to go on some kind of trip. I heard it's the start of an adventure. Okay, it might take you by surprise where you actually end up when all's said and done, Gemini. Okay, there's been a lot of travel coming in around Gemini for a minute now. Oh, you've never gone here before. Okay, and I don't know if it's actually a literal trip. It might be a different kind of trip. Mm-hmm. It's an experience that's a trip. Okay. All right, let's check it out. Let's check it out, man. Some of you may be hopping on a plane, though, I have to say. You may need to go somewhere to drop in with someone, or someone is hopping on a plane to drop in with you. Okay, maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're not going anywhere. Maybe you don't have to go on a trip, but it's a trip because you run into somebody in an unexpected place and you're like, what? How'd you get here? All right, maybe it's somebody you haven't seen in a long time. Could be somebody that's at a distance. All right, this is for any significant Gemini placement, or if you have a prominent placement in the third house. Also, if you're a Sagittarius rising, that makes you a Gemini descendant. So let's just check out what we got going on here. Yeah, I mean, this could be somebody that used to be a lover of yours, but you know, you kind of cut it off, okay, with the penis weasel here. You cut off all of that kind of action. I think maybe you, just decided that it wasn't where it was at for you. This is kind of a weaselly like character, so you might have felt like they were a bit sneaky, or you couldn't necessarily trust, where this person was coming from, or you could feel like there's, somebody outside of your connection that's playing this role that's sort of been trying to like weasel into your relationship, and you had, an eye for what was going on. I feel like this is coming in especially strong if you're the masculine in this situation. I think that you could sense that, there were other like people who wanted to consider themselves options, sort of sniffing around your situation. And I think you cut that off with a quickness. Something became illuminated for you. And you might have had some concerns too, just about if you were getting the full picture of a story. Even when talking to your partner, you might have wondered if you were really getting the full scope of the picture there. Some of you might have done a little digging. You might have like just kind of, kept an eye on things, might have really been paying attention to what was going on social media. You might have been kind of like asking around, sussing out some information. Some of you, all right, let's check it out. Let's see what's going on here. I do feel like an action is going to be taken. Okay, it could be by a fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, right? You may have been cut off from this person. They may have cut something off with you, or vice versa. It could go either way. But I do feel like somebody is going to approach you or connect with you, or show up where you least expect them. That's how it's coming through. There's something about, there's some unexpected meetup here. Whew. And with that, we got an infinite cosmic mess coming out here. So maybe something is quite a mess, and that's why this person is coming around. They're trying to like sort something out, figure something out. It might need like a hands-on approach. It's not something that can be handled at a distance. Somebody needs to come in to help clear things out here. I'm seeing a lot of different imagery here. So this could be a matter of the heart. All right. I do think somebody's heart may feel a mess. Okay. They may be feeling a lot of things and they're just not sure what to do with it. They may feel like they need to see you in order to sort this out. I do think there's been, a lot of eyes on this situation, and not just, maybe both of you kind of like tuning into each other and seeing what's going on, but I feel like there's other eyes on this situation. Like I said, there's people that have maybe like coveted an opportunity to, connect with the person that you've been romantically involved with. They're sort of monitoring your relationship. In some cases, that's been a source of interjection that's caused problems. I also feel like there's still something here that despite all the pressure, despite all the challenges, all the trouble, there's still something here. And there's been some kind of clarity that's come through. There's some kind of refinement that's come through. It's giving me like impenetrable diamond kind of vibes, Like when you come to a place of clarity about your own growth process, your own position in a situation, and that gives you a different sort of lens to view the other through. You start to see them with greater clarity too. You start to understand your role more as well. So I feel there's a lot of growth that's been happening here in this situation. It's been messy. It's been a messy process. Maybe something has had to completely come undone. And now it's sort of like, okay, well, how does it get put back together again? And in this process of something being come undone, there might be also like the infiltration of like a lot of past love energy in your situation, not just on your side, but on the other side too. There was something about needing to sort of maybe making the round of certain old karmic loops to have a greater understanding about how one arrived at the present position. And I feel like it works both ways. And I'm almost getting this vibe of like an intersection. And this message about collision has been coming in recently. And I'm just, you'll have to forgive me, okay? I worked in record stores for a long time, for over a decade. And, you got to play the stuff you wanted to play. And when you worked in the indie stores, but when you worked for the corporate stores, they had a play file. You were required to play certain music. So I like have certain like top 40 stuff is just like embedded in my brain and it comes through often. But I just heard Crash Into You, Dave Matthews Band. Okay, so there could be something in that song that has a particular message. All right, I'm a big lyrics person. And I never think that in a song comes through by accident. Like there's a reason for that, okay? And maybe you bumping into this person, crashing into this person. I don't know. Maybe you turn down a grocery aisle and you bump into each other. And now all your stuff's on the floor in a big mess, and it's very symbolic. It's very symbolic of like the whole nature of the connection. And maybe you clean it up together. Maybe there's something potent about that. Maybe that's part of the work. Maybe you've been in situations before where you just left things a mess, where you didn't follow them through, where you just threw in the towel. You never really wrote out a situation when it got really messy, when it got really rough. Maybe you're writing out a situation right now that's really messy, and maybe people don't understand why you're writing that out. Maybe you're writing that out because you understand there's something cathartic happening here. I'm learning something here. I'm seeing something here. It's not just a spark going on for you. There's a spark going on for another here too. Interesting dynamics, okay? Some of you may be in the process of cleaning up a mess, like a spill or something, as you're listening to this read that just coming in here. Oh, somebody is having a birthday party. Maybe you've been cleaning up after somebody's birthday. Yeah, maybe you meant to do it a while ago. You left it until this weekend. Okay. Some of you might be dealing with a Leo. Okay, we are in Leo season. Right? And yeah, you know, I think maybe this person is getting a little bit older. They're starting to look at things a little bit differently. They might be having some kind of sobering experiences. They're just seeing things in a different way than they've seen them before. And they're starting to realize that, you know, what it means to like be living the good life or to be celebrating or, you know, whooping it up at this stage in their life is very different from when they were younger. Okay. So in some cases, this could be like a little bit of like a reformed player kind of energy. Maybe somebody needed to like kind of entertain that for a little bit just to be reminded of, you know, where that leads. I do feel like something's come to a close in this situation. The past has been infiltrating this situation a great deal on both sides. All right. But I do feel like there's some decision here to hit the refresh button. There's like a rebirth energy here. And I do feel like there's something to celebrate, despite how chaotic things have been, or the instability, or the uncertainty, or the changeability of a situation. In fact, maybe it was only when something was no longer seen as a sure thing that it caused another to value it a little bit more. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at this. You see here. Yeah, somebody is really realizing that it's time to just transform already. It's time to let go of things that keep them locked in a pain cycle, things that keep them in a place where they never do really get to experience that freedom. And the only true freedom there is in the world, in the free world, is in our hearts. You know, love is freedom. That's what love is. Okay. So maybe somebody was afraid of being trapped or controlled or stuck in a relationship, or they felt like in some way it was cramping their style, maybe because of another way they were moving into expansion in their life. You know, maybe their career was really on the uptick, or maybe they'd, you know, come into alignment with a new social circle or something, and so they started feeling like, well, this relationship is holding me back, or I feel really stuck here. There's a lot of stuff coming in around relationships right now. I mean, Venus is front and center. We do got the nodes of destiny action going on, but there is a lot of this action happening here. For some of you, you know, this could be about another kind of relationship, and there still could have been a fallout in a friendship group, and it could have been related to, you know, maybe somebody wanted to be more than friends, and that's not where it was at. But I think for the vast majority of you, you've been steeped in some deep, you know, complicated, multi-layered healing process in relationship, and there's been a lot of past connections involved with that. I think there's a lot that you've had to let go. You've had to just let that shit go. You haven't been able to stay in a position of holding on to it. I do think you've gained a certain level of wisdom, a certain level of insight, a new vision for your future as well. And there's some things that you finally cut a tie to. You released them, you know. You realized you were kind of done with convenience, you know. Just because it comes easy doesn't mean that it's better. Some things are really worth investing in. I'm just noticing the pizza there. It's like, yeah, you know, you can have pizza every night for dinner, and it may be fast and it may be easy and it may taste good in the moment, but after a while, that's not going to feel so good afterwards. You're going to have a food hangover that can apply to all things, you know, whatever you're taking in here. Do you feel like somebody's feeling like a cumulative effect of that? Like, okay, now I feel kind of hungover with all of this indulgence, all of these things that I thought, you know, that would really satisfy me. I'm realizing it might be fun in the moment, but ultimately it's not really fulfilling. So I do see like a transformation of habits too, on all levels. There's a clearing out emotionally. There's a new viewpoint mentally. There's really digging deep spiritually. There's integration of the past self with who you are now. There's a lot of growth here. There's a lot more openness. There's a lot more freedom. There's also, you know, knowing when to draw boundary lines, especially when dealing with anybody who tries to put you in your place or make you feel like you're lesser than, or in some way they're looking down their nose at you. I do feel like you gave the finger to those people that you knew were just working against you. We do have this Scorpio energy there with the snake. Okay, that is Scorpio in Native American birth totem astrology. You could also be dealing with somebody born in the year of the snake, or just characters that were very tempting or maybe quite silver tongued and were able to sort of get you to buy into their storyline. And you sort of became, you know, at one point an NPC in that storyline when you thought that you were coming in as the protagonist, you know. Then eventually you got cast in the role of the antagonist, and then before you knew it, you just weren't participating at all. You wanted to get out of this storyline, and I do feel like you extricated yourself. You realized it wasn't worth it. You were tired of feeling divided between your head and your heart. And so you followed your own inner vision and you found a way through. And suddenly you weren't so confused anymore. You realized that the only reason you ever felt confused is because you were seeing yourself through another's confused perspective of you. It was like something that was projected on you that you took in, and now you found the way through. You see the way through clearly. So you're on the other side. You're out of the maze. You've resolved something here. Whatever had you bound up at one point, it's now come undone. And I think, you know, what you're releasing is this need to be overly protective, or somebody in your situation is. Somebody here has been very defensive. They felt like they needed to protect themselves. Their heart has been really shut down. They've gone cold. They've isolated themselves. They've pulled their energy back. And they may even be coming off kind of combative, or they did at one point. And I feel like this is what is being transformed here, right? This is also North Node energy. You may have felt like there was no way that you could transform this raw hand of fate into the stuff of your destiny, but something is turning around now. What's turning around is you. You're no longer divided here. That's your energy. You know, it's the Gemini energy, you know, the two sides. Do I follow my head? Do I follow my heart? You know, do I listen to the angel? Do I listen to the devil? And then you came to realize that all aspects of yourself have something to teach you, and that there's nothing wrong or broken or fractured within you at all. And that's when you really took possession of your own mind. You know, you weren't going to be programmed anymore. You weren't going to buy into others' BS. You were going to define your life and yourself on your own terms, you know. And I think you feel a lot of freedom, a lot of upliftment here, you know. And you put a stop to any kind of combative energy where you're dealing with people that are aggressive or combative or need to muscle their way through to get their point across. You've just kind of like, nope, you know, take a time out, man. Take a time out. Go take a nap, you know, do something to chill out. And maybe you had to do that for yourself sometimes too. Maybe I just need rest, you know, and you gave yourself an opportunity to rest. You gave yourself some space, a lot of space to integrate what you were feeling. And I think that's how you found the way through. This is really good energy. Let me do a cut of the deck, and then we'll get a little clarification with my shadow light playing cards. Yeah, and now I feel like you're really just guided by your instincts, okay? You really are moving forward in a very strong way, but you're also moving forward with a lot of Saturnian energy backing you up. Like, you know what you need to do to move forward. You're trusting your instincts about this, and you're taking the steps. And you're not going to be anybody's robot. You know, like I said, you're not going to go with the program. You are the one who is choosing your focus, and your focus really is on lock. I see that here. Yeah, you're not buying into anybody's dogma that they're trying to pass on. You're not buying into anybody's self-righteousness. And you might have had to go really logical to just kind of tune some people out. I have to say, okay, you might be dealing with a character like that who was acting like they really were, showing up for you in that way. And then you realize this person isn't really here to like support me and listen to me and hold space for me. Like this person is shady, they got their own agenda here. All right. So you cut that off. And with that cutoff, you got the beginning of love here. So this is something beautiful coming into view for you here. This is like the real deal. This is your heart opening up again. This is love coming into alignment. This is a fresh start. This is seeing things clearly. This is understanding where your heart belongs. This is putting down everything that burdened you. All the defenses are falling away. And suddenly there's this lightness of being. Now you know this was really worth, taking a stand for. And I do feel like there is something you had to take a stand for here. And others may have told you that, you were too focused on your security, that maybe you were being too clingy, or that you should have, taken a leap away from this, or others may have, tried to tell you that your focus was, just too much on the stability of a situation. And I do feel like maybe you went through a period where that was a focus in the connection, and maybe you were dealing more with your security, okay? You may have been really concerned about your security for one reason, maybe because you noticed that there were certain disruptions in connections, and that made you realize that at the end of the day, you had to make sure you were taking care of yourself. You can't count on somebody always being there for you. In some way, you felt like you really did need to look at your finances. And this could have been, you had a history of dealing with user types, or maybe, you were going through problems in your relationship and the future was really uncertain. You stopped thinking of yourself as, a pair, and started thinking of yourselves as, two individual agents here. And so, there might have been some people that said that you were still hanging into a situation for just that reason, or that you were, distant because you were focusing on that. But your heart was always in the right place here with the King of Hearts, okay? We also got water sign energy coming through here, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. You could have been dealing with, some imbalance at work, I have to say. With the Eight of Diamonds coming up in the shadow there, it is Scorpio's house too. You could have been dealing with a Scorpio, and there could have been something a little funny or complicated going on there. And there may have been somebody that was sort of interjecting in your situation that was maybe causing a financial drain, or maybe they were having too much involvement in your situation, in your foundation. This could be anything where there's like, a real solid foundation laid down where you're invested in something with another. So it could be like your business, or it could be your household, right? Or maybe this person, was just maybe desiring a certain stability that you had, and they wanted some of that for themselves. You might have been realizing that this person was sort of creating some blockages in your situation, and you had to clear that out. Okay. Yeah, there was some kind of, combative vibes here, conflict here. I do feel like you're getting to the other side of that because you recognized where it wasn't at, where love wasn't at, and you walked away from that. And this could also be somebody who was very focused on money here. We have Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And yeah, something did get cut off strongly in this situation. And I feel like you took swift action. Your words may have been very strong too. Let me do a cut of the deck here and see what we got. Oh, I picked up two cards. Okay, so, I do feel like this is trying to be ironed out here. And we did have fire sign energy come in pretty strongly for you, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So they know something that was once, you know, in alignment for the two of you really got disrupted here. And I do feel like this person's coming in, they're coming in the light to try to correct this, okay, to bring balance back to a situation. And they mean it, and they'll invest in it, okay? And this is really solid. So somebody's making something right here, and it is the start of a brand new beginning, a brand new cycle, and this looks good. Good for you for hanging in there and trusting your instincts when everybody else told you to turn the other way or make another choice. You really had to navigate this. I feel there was a maze you had to go through. There was a lot of doubt that was seated in you, but you stayed true. You stayed true to your heart, and it's leading you exactly where you're meant to be. Expect an unexpected meeting.